Hi everyone, it's Rman here. So today we will be discussing this month's winter banner, and I will tell you whether it is worth summoning on this winter banner or not. And as usual, I will talk about some of my other thoughts at the end of the video. So I think this winter banner is definitely worth summoning on because the winter units are all good and all have amazing utility, and some even are crazy strong nukes and crazy SD units such as Winter Saver and Winter Harmonized Winter Ivy, and not to mention that this banner is freely sparkable, so compared to other banners which are locked to Fade Pass sparkable, free to play players, this freely sparkable winter banner is definitely the best choice because it gives you the best value. But even though this winter banner is very good, the emblem banner is in around will come in around 2 days, and the New Year banner is also just around the corner. So you always have to stay alert when trying to summon on any banners at all. And you need to remember that the winter banner lasts for quite a long time, and it also lasts for a few more weeks. So you definitely have time to wait until wait and see who the emblem hero is in 2 days, and maybe even see what kind of New Year heroes are here before summoning on the winter banner. So first, let's kick things off by talking about Winter Gatekeeper. So Winter Gatekeeper is overall a pretty good savior that gives good drive support to his allies, and he also gives drive FLDR, Briar effect support, and he also gives out the Share Spoils Plus status effect from Summer Lapis, and he splashes it at start of turn instead of splashing it after combat, which is one of the flaws in Summer Lapis's designs of her Share Spoils Plus niche. But Winter Gatekeeper just hands it out for free at start of turn, so he is definitely a really good supporter, and he has really good utility because Share Spoils Plus gives your allies an extra action, and that is always nice to have, and it is always good to have another action in as a support unit in your barracks. But if we're talking about competitively, Winter Gatekeeper is unfortunately not the tankiest unit in the game, and the tankiest units in the game are still Legendary Black Knight, Valentine's Duo Rhea, and even other Emblem Corrin, for example, if you're talking about a magic save, magic saves. So I will talk about how I would rank Winter Gatekeeper later, but I will just mention a bit about his base stats and some of the more notable effects that Winter Gatekeeper has. So Winter Gatekeeper has a really special gimmick of Snowstorm from Ronan's Refine, and his Snowstorm effect really makes his damage output much more consistent and much more dangerous because Winter Gatekeeper does not have any true damage. He only has 15 special true damage at all. Special true damage, and his normal true damage is 0. So he really relies on the Snowstorm effect to do damage, and if he cannot trigger his special, you would expect Winter Gatekeeper to be doing 0 damage to any modern units, and that is really a big flaw in Winter Gatekeeper's design, and you really cannot expect Winter Gatekeeper to be able to retaliate against foes if the foes have a lot of scowl effects and a lot of guard effects, because Winter Gatekeeper unfortunately does not have guard in his base kit, but he does have a maximum of 3 preamp pulls, so he can combat scowl for a little bit. But you need to keep in mind that Winter Gatekeeper is also using a very high cooldown special of Ice Wall, so really he needs all the preamp pulse effects as support in order for him to actually trigger his special to get his Snowstorm effect. And he also does not have a guaranteed follow-up attack, and he only stops foes from doing follow-up attacks. And And thus, you will expect Winter Gatekeeper to only be able to survive some modern nukes and not be able to defeat modern units in the enemy when he is counterattacking very often. So, by comparing his flat DR with other modern tanks, we can see that Winter Gatekeeper has about 26 flat DR plus 40% unpierceable DR plus 15 special flat DR, which is about this a little bit higher than Fallen Female Alir's flat DR, so that's good, but it's definitely less than the top meta saviors such as the legendary Black Knight, Valentine's Duoreya, Emblem Corian, and of course Brave Ekfamir. So I can only rank him as A tier because he really does not have that much flat DR. He only has 20 something flat DR, and he has special flat DR, which is good. But then again, all of the other better far saviors, or even magic save or physical save, any of the other meta saviors have just also have the same amount of special flat DR, but they also have much more normal flat DR as well. And not to mention, Valentine's Duoreya has miracle support, and she also has miracle effect herself, which makes her even more tankier, much more tankier than Winter Gatekeeper. And also the legendary Black Knight just has reflex and breath of life for healing as a support, as a 2-space support, which is just so much better than Winter Gatekeeper. But Winter Gatekeeper also gives up some nice support such as the Briar effect and the Share Spoils plus splashing. So all in all, Winter Gatekeeper is an A tier magic save or a physical save. You can use Winter Gatekeeper as a magic save or a physical save because he has similar defense and res stats. However, you need to remember that Winter Gatekeeper is best to use is a res based savior, so it is best that he has as much resistance as possible. But of course, if you want him to be a physical save or a near save, then you can stack up as much defense on him as possible, because his defense and res stats are actually almost the same, and it's just that Winter Gatekeeper uses his resistance to attack and count his true damage. So be sure to take that in mind. So yeah, Winter Gatekeeper is definitely an A tier savior. And here are my tier list guidelines, and here are the basic stat references for the saviors included in the tier list. And then we will talk about Winter Alfred. So Winter Alfred is really good as a P save, and he is extremely stacked with crazy amounts of flat DR, and he has a lot of true damage. And as a speed defense physical save, he is certainly doing his job very well because he has 20 frozen effects built in his base kit, and he has a lot of flat DR. He has maximum 38 flat DR plus 40% unpierceable DR plus 15 special flat DR, and he also gets 7 war flat DR if the foe has brave attacks. And you should know that that is a lot of flat DR, and if you compare his amount of flat DR to other meta tanks such as Legendary Black Knight, Valentine's Duoreya, and even Brave Ekfamir, you can see that Winter Alfred has even more flat DR than Brave Ekfamir at maximum plus 10 bonus stats with the help of Dual Morph. And yeah, really, Winter Alfred is definitely not someone you should be looking down at, and he is a really good P save. And he also gives a lot of GT support, great talent support at start of turn. And if you let Winter Alfred get his great talent popping off, then he is basically almost going to be unkillable. And really, Winter Alfred is, I can't stress this enough, is super good because he has a lot of flat DR, and as a speed defense physical save, he has a lot of double frozen effects, so 20 frozen effect, and almost all the speed nukes will have a very hard time doubling Winter Alfred, and Winter Alfred, of course, also has the no follow-ups and all the necessary, almost all the necessary statuses he needs in order to be a really tanky physical save. The only thing that he does not have is Breath of Life healing. So you need to outsource Breath of Life healing somewhere, such as the legendary Black Knight as a far save or magic save, or even other units that run Breath of Life 4 as the C slot in order to help him tank against AoE attacks, because Winter Alfred unfortunately is very weak against AoE attacks, and he also does not have no counter disrupt in his he also does not have no counter disrupt in his base kit, so you also need to make sure you also need to remember that. But no counter disrupt is not that necessary in the game right now, and the main thing you need is the main thing you need as a savior is you need a lot of flat DR in order to tank the all of those really crazy damage nukes in the game right now. And also most of the time, all of the nukes that do a lot of all of the meta nukes often do not have the wind sweep effects. So really, the no counter disrupt is a minor problem, and it really does not make Winter Alfred any worse. And if you give Winter Alfred and more status supports that give flat DR, then Winter Alfred will almost be unkillable at that point because he has so much flat DR. So yeah, you can see how high I rank him. I rank him as the second best physical save in the game right now, and I still think Legendary Black Knight is still better than Winter Alfred, mainly because the Legendary Black Knight has no counter disrupt, has hardy bearing built in. Of course, Winter Alfred also has hardy bearing. He is the first unit to give out hardy bearing support, so that is really good. And Winter Alfred is absolutely cooking, and he definitely deserves to be in S tier. But I still think the Legendary Black Knight is better than Winter Alfred because Legendary Black Knight has Breath of Life healing as a 2-space support, and it helps him guard against tank against AoE damage, and AoE damage is making a comeback because a lot of the tanks or Omni tanks often do not have Breath of Life 4 or have the AoE damage reduction. So a lot of AoE damage is real, and also AoE damage is really common in the game right now. So yeah, and because the Legendary Black Knight has a way of dealing with AoE damage, while Winter Alfred does not, so the Legendary Black Knight is still better as a physical save than Winter Alfred, but Winter Alfred is still the second best physical save in the game right now, and you should not underestimate him at all. And you can take a look at at my tier list guidelines here and the basic stat references here, and then we will talk about Winter Safer. So Winter Safer is a really crazy good unit that offers crazy support such as the mid-turn exposure plus panic and action niche like other safer alts, but this safer alt does it every turn like dual safer. So really, she is a really good unit and someone sorry and she is someone that you would not want to face when playing summoner mainly when playing summoner duels and or even in other game modes, because her and action gimmick is just very toxic. It is OP, and because it is this OP, it is very toxic, and you almost never want to see her in any kind of game modes. And yeah, so she has a lot of true damage as well. So So she has about 60, a maximum of about 63 true damage, and she also has about 36 AoE true damage, which is a lot, and it really makes her a really powerful nuke. And not to mention she splashes mid-turn exposure and also gets an extra action out of it because of her base kit. And really, there is nothing she cannot do in nuking. And of course, her if she can almost with her AoE, she can almost destroy any kind of nuke. Sorry, any kind of tank in the game, as long as they do not have Breath of Life 4 healing. And Winter Saver also has the momentum special jumping, so she can easily trigger her AoE attacks as every turn. And she also has the favor B slot, which gives her special cooldown -1 after using an assist skill. So really, she can trigger her AoE every turn, and as a nuke, she is definitely very good at her job. And she can, yeah, just as I mentioned, she can nearly just destroy every unit who does not have Breath of Life 4 healing. And because Breath of Life 4 healing is not that common now, that just makes Winter Saver much better. And yeah, Winter Saver, nothing bad to say with her about her. And the only thing that she really just cannot do is tanking, because she does not have 40% unpierceable DR, and her amount of flat DR, she has 22 flat DR, which is pretty good, but of course, in compared to modern standards, it is definitely not enough to be tanking. And yeah, she is very glassy, so that's her only flaw. But as a nuke and as a supporter, Winter Saver just has it all, and she is definitely a really good unit to grab. And let's take a look at how I rank her as a ranged nuke. So as you can see, I changed the ranged nuke tier list by a lot, and I changed this tier list because after playing summoner duels, and yeah, it really made me evaluate nukes, made me really think about nukes again. For I used a lot of time thinking about how I should rank each unit, and this is what I've come up with. And I think Winter Saver is definitely an S tier nuke because she just does so much, and her AoE damage is also just so good, and her true damage, she has a maximum of 63 true damage, and even at normal values, she has about 50 something true damage. So with that amount of true damage, she definitely is S tier. And also because she is an AoE nuke, and she can trigger her AoE very consistently because of her momentum special jumping and midterm special jumping from the favor skill and extra action. Man, she just has everything she needs to be a really good AoE nuke. And yeah, she definitely deserves to be in S tier. And I also bumped Halloween Duel Freya into S tier just because her performance in Summer Duels and even in all other game modes is just that good that I have to reevaluate her. And I I do not understand why Duel Freya is actually doing that much damage, but because she has I know that she has a lot of flat DR. She has so much flat DR and pierceable DR, and she can ignore enemy specials. I think that Dual Freya is doing that much damage because of her Comet special, her in combat debuffs on the foe based on their bonus stats, and also mainly because she inflicts the knows she denies foes specials from triggering, and she also inflicts the no miracle status at start of turn as a debuff. And yeah, I think those are the reasons why Dual Freya is that strong as a nuke. But to be honest, I still don't really understand how she is doing this much true damage, considering that she does not have any normal true damage, and she only has 20. She has 20 special true damage along with the comet special, but I don't understand how she is killing the legendary Black Knight. And yeah, so that's why. But because of her performance, I'm putting her in S tier. But based on her true damage and flat DR, I just I just really have to say that I don't know about this game, and this range nuke is only my personal opinion, and it is my personal guess on some, because I don't own all of the units in this tier list. Of course, I'm a free-to-play player, player of Fae, and yeah, I'm really just guessing their power as a range nuke based on how I've encountered them in or used them in summer, mainly in summer duels and sometimes other game modes as well. So I'm ranking on my experience as a player by playing competitive fake game modes such as SD, such as Rays, and sometimes Arena as well, but mainly is Rays and summer duels. So yeah, I that's all. I don't understand. So mainly the point I want to make is that I do not understand why Halloween Duel Freya is this good by looking at her base kit and all of her skills, but really based on her summoner duels and Ray's performance, I have no choice but to put her in S tier. Like seriously. And yeah, other units I I can sort of understand why they are so good and they can kill the meta saviors and meta tanks, but for Halloween Duel Freya, I it just proves that there's so much more to the so much more I don't understand about this game, and maybe if someone knows why Halloween Duel Freya is this good, you can explain it to me in the comment section below, and yeah, try to help me with explaining why how we do Freya is this good. And yeah, so this is so based on my experience as a Fae player and my my predictions based on their true damage, Winter Saver, I will put her in S tier as a range nuke. And of course, if you do not agree with this tier list, you are free to do so. And this is just my personal opinion. And you can take a look at my range nuke tier list guidelines here, and here are the basic stat references for the nukes included in the tier list. So finally, we will talk about Harmonized Ivy. So Harmonized Ivy is an amazing nuke that can kill a lot of tanks in the game, including the recent Toxic Harmonized Ike, and she can often kill Valentine's Duorea and the legendary Black Knight as well if she has enough support, and she also has a lot of true damage, and she has a conditional brave which is very easily triggered, and she also offers some unique she also offers the unique preempt pulse before all attack drive support for allies, as well as the good 2 spaces potent and an anathema start of turn support, and she also has the miracle built in her base kit, miracle effect based built in her base kit, and of course she has the summer ivy warping with pass if her support partner is on the team, and mainly because of the pass status effect, it immediately makes Harmonized Ivy very very good as a nuke, because the pass effect just allows her warping to be relevant in the game for at least a long time unless they somehow stop pass from triggering, and I do not want to think about that for now. And yeah, because of the pass status effect, Harmonized Ivy's warping is just becomes 10 times as better compared to all other allies or all other nukes that have warping built in their base kit. And mainly because she has passed, she is a very unique threat in SD and other game modes, and she combining her crazy range with her very high true damage, she of course she will be a very great nuke. And the only flaws that Harmonized Ivy has is that she is relatively glassy with her base kit, and she only has 15 flat DR plus 40% unpierceable DR if you use her base kit skills. And therefore, I would suggest that you need to, if you want to build the best Harmonized Ivy and you have the fodder, you should definitely consider giving her the newest B slot Execution Breath, which gives maybe a bit less true damage, but it gives Harmonized Ivy 7 more flat ER, and it also gives her the deep wounds effect. So it really helps her nuke more consistently, and definitely build up a bit more bulk to really tank the meta saviors or meta tanks that often come along with a lot of true damage. And yeah, all in all, she really relies on her miracle effect in order to defeat the meta tanks in the game. So I really think that if the tank has Erica Ring or has Brave built in their kit, then Harmonized Ivy may be struggling against those units if they have enough flat DR. Even though Harmonized Ivy has a lot of true damage, she often still needs the follow-ups in order to really defeat those really meta saviors and meta tanks. So yeah, and also Harmonized Ivy is not a speed tank. Sorry, it's not a speed nuke, and she shares her speed stat together with her res stat, and she has a higher res stat, and so basically she has high speed, high res, and attack. So if you compare her stats to the mainly speed nukes, competitive speed tanks in the game that only have attack and speed as their stats, then you will realize that Summer Ivy often will have a lower speed stat than those units. So this make this may prove that Summer Ivy Fuss may have trouble dealing with the speed tanks in the games, for example, Emblem Korean, Brave Male Balev, and Attune Ryoma, who are all very common in summer duels, and therefore she often needs extra support to defeat those speed type meta tanks in order to get her follow-up attacks. And yeah, her true damage, because she gets 5 more true damage for every time she has attacked during combat, so the more she will get more true damage on her follow-up attacks. So if she doesn't get her follow-up attacks against speed tanks, then she will often be struggling to defeat those units. So let's get straight to ranking her right away, and as you can see, I rank her as an S tier nuke. She is very good. She has a lot of true damage, and she has miracle effect, and she has the very good support. However, I talked about a lot of the potential flaws that Harmonized Ivy may face when using her. That's because the tanks in the meta are just so much more consistent and more. And I would say that the tanks are much stronger than the nukes right now in the meta, and the only one that can consistently defeat all of the nukes is Arena Crom, the only unit. And I have Ninja Yunaka, and even as a top S tier nuke, I still find her struggling to kill the legendary Black Knight sometimes in Ether Rays. And yeah, that just to me, I don't think. To me, I just think that experiencing Faye and playing Faye just made it makes me feel that in the meta right now is more focused on tanking, and the meta tanks and meta omni tanks like Harmonized Ike, Chosen Alphonse, Legendary Black Knight, Emblem Corin, Valentine's Dorea, Attune Ryoma, and the list goes on. All of the meta units are just so tanky right now, and very often they are well supported, and yeah, there's a lot of flat DR support that everyone gives around, and every modern unit gives flat DR support to their allies, and it just adds on to the bulk. And yeah, stacking flat DR is just super easy, but stacking true damage is less easy, I would think, in the meta right now. So it really just, even though Harmonized Ivy is very good and has a lot of true damage, and I rank her as an S tier nuke, I still think that even then she may still struggle against some of the top tier tanks in the game right now, because right now the tanks are just overall, I think overall the tanks are just better than the nukes in the game right now. And I'm not sure if that will change in the near future when the emblem comes around, but for now I'm just feeling that the tanks are just better than the nukes. Yeah, so even though Harmonized Ivy is definitely an S tier nuke and very good, I'm just saying that in my experience of using her as a nuke in real situations, I still find her struggling to kill some of the more common tanks in the game right now, like Attune Ryoma, Brave Male Byleth, and yeah, other saviors that like the legendary Black Knight as well. So yeah, it's unfortunate because I really like Harmonized Ivy, but then again, as a free to play player that cannot give Harmonized Ivy the best B skill execution breath because I don't have the fodder, yeah, I'll just take what I can get. And yeah, so here are my range nuke tier list guidelines here, and here are my nuke stat references for the nukes that I've included in the tier list. And here are my final thoughts on the banner. I'm very glad that we got Selkov as a free unit, and glad to see that Faye did not forget to add actual new units into the game. I'm not saying that I hate Faye for not adding units that have never been in the game, but it's nice to see new characters get introduced into the game ever so often, and not just repeating the very common alts for just to print for money. And yeah, maybe I'm a little bit tired of this strategy, but overall I'm not unhappy. I guess I'm just more disappointed that the nukes are less strong as the tanks in the meta right now. And for me, as a player that just loves nuking much more, I love nuking much more than tanking, and seeing the meta as a tanking meta really just drops my motivation a little bit. So yeah, that's mainly why I'm mainly describing why I'm feeling a little bit disappointed right now. But I think the emblem banner coming up will change things. So I'm not saying I'm unhappy playing Faye right now. It's just that I dislike tanks. I really hate unkillable omni tanks. It really makes me feel like there's nothing I can do. It's like so helpless. I feel helpless when facing against unkillable tanks like the Chosen Alphonse, Attune Ryoma, and it feels like there's nothing I can do against those units in summer duels, and I just lose the game because of one unit, and that really frustrates me a lot and makes me feel like, okay, I don't have that unit, and they're just using the most invincible tanky unit, and they just win. It's very discouraging that. And yeah, so that's how I'm feeling in the game, and it is not that related to the winter banner, but I just wanted to say that. And yeah, I already summoned on this banner, and I sparked for Harmonized Ivy because I love Ivy too much, and I hope I can get the emblem coming in 2 days, considering my orb stack. And yeah, considering that I have Ivy and I've tried using her in summoner duels, it's just that Ivy, even though she is an S tier nuke, she may still struggle to kill some of the most broken tanks in the game right now. And really, that's just the one thing that is discouraging me, because I really hate Omni tanks. That's all. And yeah, that's all I wanted to share about the winter banner, and I hope the emblem hero coming to the game won't be too toxic as well. So thank you all for watching to the end, and hope to see you in the next video, and subscribe to see more videos like this. Goodbye.